Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.
Russell Gilbert, a fake round if you would.
Oh, fantastic.
Gilbert.
Tone.
Seen you for a while.
No, I haven't bumped into you for a long time, actually. It's just great to see you. You haven't changed, which is all good, and I've changed a little bit, put on a couple of kilos maybe.
Oh, look, I'm sure that's for a movie part.
Oh, yeah.
Just say it's for a movie
I'm
part.
playing the Michelin Man in a couple of months.
Oh, and convincingly too. But, you know, the last time I did see you, I think, was in the movie Ned Kelly. Did you know this, Ed?
No, I haven't seen it. So is Gilbert? You're in it, Gilbert.
I
Russell
am in Ned
Gilbert
Kelly.
has the first line. Don't you the first bloke that speaks?
Well, yeah, but I think I have 6 or 7 lines in it, and it's right, but it is in the opening scene before they roll credits, and they start rolling credits over me, and I'm thinking, well, that's exactly where I thought it would finish anyway for me, and it did. So as they start rolling credits, I'm going, geez, I was good as that was all about me.
Showstopper.
Exactly. But the funny thing was, when I had to play an Irishman,
Oh, yes.
and I had to go and read for it, so I read as a Southern. First, I started reading it like, "You're a liar, Kelly. That's a postmaster's mare." And then the guy said to me, "Look, that's okay, but you want to be a different Irish. You want to be Northern Irish." So then I went back and I went, "You're a liar, Kelly. That's a postmaster's mare." So then I went back and I thought, no, how am I going to get this? Then I started reading it like a leprechaun. "Get out of there, Kelly. That's a postmaster's mare. What are you doing there? Hey, then, Kelly, get down from there. I'll shoot you now. That's what I'll do." And you realise there's no such thing as the leprechaun. So then I went back to the Southern. That's the postmaster's mare. And I nearly accidentally blew Heath Ledger's head off with one of the guns.
Right.
Do you want me to tell you the story?
Please do.
True. What happened was we were doing this scene where I'm with Heath Ledger in a little main street, and what happens is I shoot him, and those guns weren't very good in those days, so I shoot him from about 5 yards away, and it misses. Then he comes up and he grabs my gun and throws it on the ground.
Yes.
And then he starts wrestling me and rubbing my face in the dirt. Then 2 policemen grab him. Then I pick up the gun like a big, tough policeman, and I run up to him and I whack him across the face with the gun.
It's basically a Rodney King incident circa a couple hundred years ago.
Basically, yes, yeah, but not on video. You know, that's the only thing.
No, there's etchings, though.
There
Very
is, yeah.
Just a quick
incriminatory drawings.
Charcoal drawing somewhere. I've heard that. But so what happened was we did the scene and we carried through. And what the armourer did, he put two wads in the gun.
Yeah.
So when I actually swung the gun at Ned, Heath Ledger, it actually went off as I went past his face again. And we looked at each other and then we just carried on. But it could have been a very horrible moment.
It could have been Leprechaun beheads Ledger.
Yeah.
And then
there you go. There you go. He take that. Now take that and get out of here. That's what I want from you. Get out. Get out and get out now.
Gee, there was no such thing as the Leprechaun's Ed. Keep that in mind. Don't be
sure?
frightened. Don't look that frightened.
I know, it's funny because and Ed's I think you're trying to picture because people can't see me. When I do it, I jump around like some little guy. Yeah, but...
And so, essentially, you're the cowardly cop, aren't you?
Yeah, I am the cowardly cop. He wasn't really cowardly. I just sort of decided to play him like that because once Heath beat me, he smacked me in the head and rubbed my face. He didn't really do anything, to be honest. He just rubbed my feet, my head in the dirt. Yeah. But when I asked him, I was going to rip him off the horse, I said, "Listen, Heath, is it okay if I just go for you?" He goes, "Yeah, no worries, Russ." So we did the take about 4 times, and after every take, they were sewing his shirt up. And he was looking at me because I was just grabbing him and throwing him off the horse and then throwing him onto the ground. But then I'm thinking, okay, this is fun. But when he had to kick me in the back, he went for it as well. So I remember he evened up on me, mate, Heath. He evened up. Don't worry. For 2 days, I was walking around with strapping on my shoulder. I couldn't lift the gun to hit him the second day. But, so you've got to rob Peter to pay Paul sometimes.
I was just saying before the show, I was in America when Ned Kelly came out.
Yeah.
And you should have seen the posters they put out. Like, they obviously didn't want people to think it was historical and boring. So Ned Kelly was just written like Lethal Weapon.
Wow.
And then they just had a photo of Heath Ledger and Orlando Bloom, like modern day, just like out of, New Weekly. And then just an outline of a gun, but it was so sort of softly focused that it could have been a modern gun.
Yeah. You know what they should have done?
What?
They should have had me dressed as a leprechaun with a super soaker. There you go, Ned Kelly, I'll get you. I promise you. I promise you, I'll squat you real good.
That's a good film.
Dragged off a
Russell
horse.
Gilbert as the soaking leprechaun.
Dragged off a horse by a leprechaun with a super soaker. Such is life.
That's a film.
You
get a junkie in there, and the AFC will buy that.
Couple of nice shots of some kookaburras. You know.
I've seen you. I'm trying to think of some of the other movie appearances. Nirvana Street Murder.
Nirvana. Yeah,
Cowardly Meatworks boss.
Okay, another cowardly meatworks.
What is that? Are you becoming the new Bill Paxton? We're all gonna die, man. We're all gonna die. And he was just the new Donald Pleasance.
Yeah.
He was the old, we're all going to die. Maybe you could become Australia's we're all going to die guy.
What
What was that film you were in with Jason Donovan?
Oh, I was going to be called Pellegrini, but I think it was called Loot.
Pellegrini. It was about the forensic accountant.
Right, yeah, and he had
I like it.
Yeah, and what he had...
Hey, who did you play, Russ?
I played like the information guy, like the shoe shine guy, I think.
You were like the shoe shine guy in Police Squad who always has all the information.
Yeah.
You slip him enough money.
Yeah.
He was like the telecom worker who just sort of just talking out of the side of his mouth.
You might want to have a look at this and see what's going on over there, Bobby. Then you know. But I went for another part, but I only had 2 or 3 little lines in that. But I'd love to do some film.
It was called Loot.
Loot. I think it was called Loot.
But it was going to be the first in like a Halifax style series.
Oh, yeah.
But it was about a forensic accountant, and they just couldn't sizzle that up.
You can't.
Yeah.
They had like this sequence where the cops surround a house.
Oh, my God.
And there's been cut to the barge in the door down. In they come. What's going to happen?
Hostage?
Confiscating files.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. And
Confiscating. You cannot make a confiscating files montage
No
look
amount
exciting.
of paper cuts is going to
Exactly.
make that dangerous.
you walk in there and there's a guy just holding the plug from the computer in his hand, and he's going, "I've got rid of all the evidence."
Don't do it,
no,
man, don't
you
do it.
haven't.
This MyObs software is incorrectly formatted. You're going down.
No, go on, seriously. I don't know. It's not mine.
Hey, let's get up the mountain. Because that's what we're talking about. Russell Gilbert is presenting comedy classics from the past on Channel 7 on Saturday nights from about 6:30.
6:30 to 8:30.
All right through to 8:30.
Yep, 4
He's
classics.
Got on the buses. He's got George and Mildred.
Yeah, fantastic stuff.
Either word classics is being stretched there. But okay,
no,
jury's out.
No, I'm telling you, you watch. They are joke city, some of the George and Mildreds. They were written, some of the jokes are just, they come at you like a machine gun in George and Mildred. I'm being honest.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt like I was being shot. You're right.
No, hey, come on. No, I'm being honest. And you know, the other thing is Doctor in the House is fantastic. And the first episode, who was it written by? Do you know, Tone?
Was it John Cleese?
Yes, and
And Graham Chapman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Second episode, written by, have a guess?
Barry Cryer.
The Goodies.
Oh, the Goodies.
2 of them, Graham Garden and Bill Oddie wrote the second and third episodes of Doctor in the House. So, I mean, there's some good talent there. We all know where they went on to, you know.
Yeah. Oh, look, but have you got, you say George and Mildred, have you got the show that George and Mildred was the spin-off from Man About the House? Have we got the theme from that? Have a listen.
Yeah, Man About the House. They were like landlords.
And
I feel like I'm about to get some prizes or something.
and he surprises. Well, I remember the opening titles. It had the star of it, who was like the super stud. It was it Robin Nedwell?
Robin Nedwell.
Or if I got
Was
that
it?
wrong?
No, Robin
it was
Nedwell was-
Richard O'Sullivan.
And Eutha Joyce and...
That was Mildred.
yeah.
But so what would happen is they go Richard O'Sullivan, and you see this bloke, right? Because it's his title shot.
Yeah.
Then there was the woman with the dark hair, and you'd see her face. And then there was the other woman, the blonde woman, Sally Tomset, and her shot in the opening credits was just her ass. Walking away from camera, and her name was supered up over her own ass in hot pants. Why has that tradition died out?
Where's that in Neighbours?
Where's that when Laurie Oakes is in the titles for Sundays?
We're
but
talking
I'm on
old TV shows.
Which
are.
ones should Gilbo dig up?
Yes.
Well,
Ed's voting for Charles in Charge.
Charles
Yep. What do you
You
want,
sing it
Tone?
good.
I'm voting for Oh No, It's Selwyn Froggatt. That's a real show starring Bill Maynard from The Darling Buds of May.
Good.
And he would just show up at the pub every week.
Yep.
And he'd have something he'd found, fallen off the back of a truck to sell.
Ah, yes.
And at some point, someone would go, "Oh no, it's Selwyn Froggatt," and hence the name of the show. Which one would you personally like to see on there, Gilbo?
look, I'd like to see. You know what I actually like? Steptoe and Son. It's good old Steptoe. But I think Steptoe make me laugh.
Yeah.
I remember that. Rich?
The Curiosity Show.
Yes!
There you go.
Because I grew up in Adelaide, and there weren't too many shows coming out of Adelaide.
No.
There was Channel 9ers later to become Come On Kids.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Unfortunately
that.
named.
Come on,
Yeah.
kids.
And also, and the Curiosity Show, and they were
Right.
the 2 things made by Banksia Productions in South Australia. Great time.
I think Humphrey Bear was
Oh,
came
yeah,
out.
Humphrey Bear,
Geez, he's
yeah.
a-
And in fa- and in-
well, he was a funny old fella, wasn't he?
He was a
used to
funny
get in
old-
matters of stripe.
He certainly did.
He did.
Mime his way out of them. But and we're not wearing any pants.
No.
Didn't Fat Cat get axed for failing to have a defined character?
Mm.
Have they never seen the man dance?
Yeah. How the hell is Jake Wall still working?
Exactly.
One of my
Cloud's hopeful, Jake Wall.
Marty Monster was a fun character years ago. Remember Marty Monster?
That clip where he went, or the kangaroo went him. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen. That is gold. And who was the
You're gonna
guy
have
on
to put that
the
on your website.
the
We're
guy
gonna
on the
find that.
Curiosity Show?
Dean Hutton?
And was that the
Dean
guy with the
Hutton.
moustache? He'd
Dean
often
Hutton.
come on Hey Hey.
Dean Hutton.
And right, because I always thought that was Edward James Olmos. I was wondering, how does he get from the Hey Hey set to Miami so quickly?
Hello there, Robbie. How are you?
G'day, guys. How are you?
Very.
Rob.
We're excellent, man. Which show would you like to see back on?
Well, I'd love to see an old classic show back on. Now, I own Series 3 on DVD,
Yes.
but not Series 1 and 2. I haven't seen them for a while,
What's
and
it
I'll give
called?
you a hint to what it is, because
Go.
on the Season 3 box set, it come with a press here for the theme song. So listen to this.
The greatest American hero.
Cut it there, Rob.
And who was the star?
William Catt.
William Catt.
William Catt.
And who was his boss? Robert Culp.
There you go.
Robbie, thank you. I actually had it queued up in the studio, but you made that redundant, my friend.
Sorry about that.
No, thank you.
Well done.
It's everywhere. He can't get enough. Thank you, Robbie.
And I love how he watched Series 1 and 2 because that's when the effects would have been not as good as Series 3.
That's right. Exactly.
Hello, Mick.
There you go, fellas. How's it going?
Very
Mick.
good. Which show would you like to see back on?
Oh, well, it's a toss-up. I can't decide between it. You remember It Ain't Half Hot, Mum?
Oh, it ain't
Tony
half
liked
hot,
it.
Mum.
Someone
like
tell
it?
me what that is.
It was sort of World War II comedy, and there was the main bloke was called Windsor Davies with a moustache, and his catchphrase was, "All right, you lovely boys." All right, you lovely boys.
That's the one.
It was a
they were a male troupe that dressed up as women to entertain the troops.
There you go.
And the other one around that I like was F Troop.
F-
F Troop. Did you like
That's
it
right.
as well?
That was all right, but Dad's Army was quite classic.
So if
Not
you
enough
like
drag,
it ain't half hot, Mum, you'd love Dad's Army, of course.
All right, you lovely boys.
Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler?
Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
He copped at that Hitler.
Thank you, Mick. Hello, Paul.
How are you?
Hi,
Good,
Paul.
sir. Good. What would you like to see back on?
Well, the show I'd like to see back is actually Mind Your Language.
Oh, mind your language.
What's mind your
I
language?
mean, which show could fit so many stereotypes into one room?
Oh,
Extra
exactly.
stereotypes.
What was it about?
He was a teacher teaching migrants English.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I don't know how to go in today's multicultural
And I guess
society.
the different nationalities represented were played with subtlety, were they?
Yes, they were overacted and as big as bold as they could be. But that's the good thing about some of these old comedies because they were made. It was a sign of the times.
It
So
was a different time.
and that's why they're really good fun to watch.
Any catchphrases you remember from that, Paul?
Oh, yes. 1,000 apologies.
Yeah, a thousand apologies. That's right, 1,000 apologies. I'll never forget that line either.
And that was one of those shows where they did it like at the BBC for a few years, and then it went offshore,
Right,
and
yeah.
suddenly everything was cheaper, and suddenly the classroom was really echoey, like they were just doing it in a warehouse.
Shot in the boat.
That's too much information, I know.
Well, I'm picking things out when I'm showing these comedy classics at 6:30 on Channel 7 Saturday nights. I'm picking out some old things, true, like watch out for this set when it shakes and how these doors don't close, and I'm gonna bring that sort of stuff
There
to
you
people's
go.
attention.
Don't
Hello,
need that.
Wayne.
Wayne,
Oh, g'day, Ed. How you going,
Good,
mate?
man. Very good. Tell me, which show would you like to see back?
Oh, I'm thinking of a wonderful politically correct show, mate, called Love Thy Neighbour.
Oh, love thy neighbour.
What happened on that?
It was a white man and a black man, and they were neighbours.
Oh,
That's the one. That's the
Yep.
one.
And the white bloke was Jack Smethurst, and he was constantly. And I'm sorry if
referred
this.
to. And please, I know what
Yeah.
you're going to say the words. Aren't you?
I shouldn't say
You
anything.
can. I mean, it was a sign of the times, and we're not offending.
No, he was constantly calling his neighbour, and sorry if anyone's offended by this, chocolate top
No.
and nignog. That's right. It was a different time.
It was a different
Don't
time.
forget Sambo.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I mean, yeah.
What
But
was the jokes? Like, what was funny? Like, what
But
was
they always had, situations of fences and things, normal neighbourly
Yes.
stuff which goes on.
Gotcha.
But because they were, opposed to each other, there was some fun to be had in that.
Fair enough.
and the catchphrase was a bloke at the pub who went, "I'll have half."
I'll
That
have
was-
half.
That was his catchphrase.
It was the beauty of that.
Thank you, Wayne.
And there was a down under version. That's what I can't work
There
out.
were lots of
Did
down
they
under
both
versions.
move to Australia by coincidence and move in next to each other?
What are the chances of that?
Or did Jack Smethurst move in next to an Aboriginal family?
Ah.
I'm not sure.
Well,
I'd
time
be
to
keen
tell on
find
that one.
out.
But it is amazing how some of those shows actually were remade, and Steptoe and Son became Sanford and Son, and
Yes.
On the Buses became Lots of Luck, and Dom DeLuise played one of the lead roles.
Ouch.
But they never were game to do Love Thy Neighbour.
No.
Who you calling chocolate top?
Ian, how are you?
Hello, Ed.
Hello. So you're going to... What would you like to see back on?
Kenny Everett's naughty video show.
What is this about?
Well, it was the Kenny Everett video show,
Yeah.
but then there was the Kenny Everett naughty video show, and I think on the video show he had a dance troupe called Hot Gossip.
Yeah.
That's
And then they went, let's just go all Hot Gossip. So the
That's
naughty
right.
video show was just, tits a go-go. Am I right, sir?
That's about it, yeah.
yeah.
That's it. That's it. What?
Very succinctly put, Ian.
And
Thank
it's
you.
There was also another spin-off to Man About the House too, called Robin's Nest.
That's right. Yes, that's
And
correct.
they had Ned the one-armed Irishman. I can't work out why he was there. But
And are you one of these? His name was David Kelly. That
he was
actor.
wonderful. He also showed up in Faulty Towers in one of their episodes. Is that
And
right?
did you do the
so
thing when you're a
right.
kid of going, has he really got one arm?
That's right, I did.
And you just wait till he showed up in something else, and then you go, but is that a fake arm?
He played a really good one-arm piano in one of the episodes.
He did.
He got mistake. He played a poker machine in another episode. As well.
Thank you, everyone.
That empty chair should contain Greg Fleet. It had to happen eventually.
He was doing so well. He was half an hour early last time.
I know. 1 week he came in like a whole week early by mistake on the wrong Monday.
Dedicated. He's so dedicated.
But he feels he has to live up to his reputation.
Yeah, fair enough. He'll be here soon, no doubt.
There's lots to talk about. In the meantime, did you hear that clip I was playing at the beginning about replacing birds' eggs? Rather a cruel
Yeah, absolutely.
practice.
Why are they doing that?
This is a story that was on the news in Melbourne,
Okay.
the Channel 10 news last night. Have a listen to this.
This picture postcard scene is about to become akin to something from Hitchcock's The Birds. Melbourne Council building a pigeon coop at Batman Park to entice the birds from the city. Lunches less than impressed.
So we're making a mess, dirtying up the place, droppings everywhere. Then I might think twice about having lunch here.
Lunches. Have you heard that before? Don't they introduce us to some great new phrases? First, Current Affair, of course, described someone as having a marriage in shatters. That's my favourite phrase of the year. Let's just hear it again.
Lunches less than impressed.
Lunches!
So, excuse me, so how would you like to be described? Oh, I think a lunch would be about right.
No, it's lunchers.
Oh, sorry, that's what I said.
Yeah. He wouldn't want to be described as a lunch. That would be foolish.
I've been sitting here covered in mayonnaise all day. No one's even had a bite.
So remember, if you're sitting in a park today and you're having lunch, you are a dirty little luncher. Here comes a luncher from
Here's
way
a
back. It's
luncher.
Greg Fleet. Give him a fake round.
A slightly sweaty Greg Fleet. Top of the morning, sir.
I offer my most humble bubkus to everyone. Now, I'd also just quickly like to point out, and I promise not to go on about bubkus, but a guy actually
Too
came up to
late.
me, yesterday, a guy came up to me and went, I heard you on Tony Martin's show going on about bubkus, and he seemed really angry, and I went, oh, sorry, and he went, it's bubkus. That was his only problem, was we weren't pronouncing it right.
Have you ever been described as a luncher, Greg Fleet?
No, but I have never walked into a room either and had someone go, dirty little luncher, and everyone laughed before either.
Well, when we say everyone.
Well, the 4 people in this room and the small studio audience.
Oh, you've joined us on a good... I'm just trying to find some big stories we can get our teeth into. What
I
about...
found out yesterday Dolphins aren't smart anymore.
Really?
What?
Yeah,
What's
I'll
happened?
tell you about
What's
it later.
happened?
I don't want to go into it right now.
Was one on the world's brainiest fish? And was
Mammal, mate. Mammal.
Was out-brained by Corinne Grant? Possibly.
Oh,
Ninjas under the bed. Have you suffered from that, guys?
oh, yeah.
This is in England, Leicester. A man suffering from hallucinations set fire to his flat to smoke out the ninjas hiding under his bed. Here's the key phrase. Stanley Turner suffered the temporary delusions while trying to wean himself off alcohol.
There it is.
So I think the lesson there is keep drinking. Don't wean yourself off alcohol. Unwanted ninjas are the sorry result.
Absolutely.
Many lives have been ruined by the sudden appearance of sobriety-induced ninjas emerging from beneath the bed area.
Drink and drive.
as they say.
Oh, yeah.
What about in Kathmandu? That's where the wacky stuff happens. Dozens of women stripped and ploughed their fields naked in West Nepal, hoping to appease the gods and get some much-needed rain. This is our last weapon. We used it, and there was light rainfall. Newspaper quoted one of the women as saying. So it did work. There was light rainfall. So the gods have gone, they've nuded up. Yeah, give them a little bit. Send something down.
I prefer her sister, but okay, give them a bit. Yeah.
It's kind of like just sticking a $5 note down the underpants, really. It's the
Absolutely.
gods' equivalent of that.
It's like an encouragement award.
You think that's what we should be trying here? Nude women in the fields?
That would have got me here on time this morning. Apparently, scientists have come out and said that dolphins are not as smart as we thought they were, and the only reason we thought they were smart is because they've got a big brain, which is a pretty good way of telling, I would have thought. But one of his things of proving this, he said that fish are smarter and rats are smarter, and he said that if you put a rat in a cage without a lid on it, it will jump out. If you put a fish in a fish bowl without a lid on it, eventually the fish will jump out. They said if you do that with a dolphin, it won't jump out. And that proves that they're not as smart as rats and fish. And I'm thinking, well, if you put a dolphin in a fish bowl for a start, it'll take you ages to jam it in there. Like the fish may jump out proving it's a genius, but then it dies flipping around on the floor with lint and old safety pins stuck to it and stuff. Whereas the dolphin doesn't. The dolphin just goes, I'm going to kick back here and read Camus and, hey, again.
And not die?
Not die.
So isn't that evidence of smartness?
I would
Not
have thought
leaping
so.
to its death might be a sign of intelligence.
I would have thought so.
Okay, let's
Who's
get back
getting
to...
a bum rap tone?
Who?
Someone O'Reilly is an artist who's got a new work where she lies naked with a dead pig for hours.
And I object very strongly to her referring to me in that way.
But the animal activists are saying that it's unfair on the pig, and the art critics are saying that she's not even a proper artist.
Yeah.
Maybe she should get a day job to pay the bills. And she has responded. The artist O'Reilly has responded with saying, "Well, really? Well, the work left me with an undercurrent of pigginess."
You know, if that is art, there's a lot of art on the internet, and it's not safe for work.
And those pigs aren't dead. I've actually written a bum rap.
Oh, so you've misinterpreted the topic completely.
In
You've
a humorous
written
way.
It's meant to be who's getting a bum rap, but you've written a bum rap.
Well, you guys are getting a bum rap from me this morning
All
right
right.
here.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Marsden, can you just bust a couple of moves for me?
Flip out some beats.
I'm smoking, not choking like Mama Cass. Dig my timing and my rhyming in this song about ass. It's a snap till you clap. Check the map, it's no trap. Alex Paps. Great, perhaps you can't touch me. I'm really pretty like a lap dancer, lyrical romancer. Down with the pantser. Take a chance, here's a link. Secret chimp star Lance. A lot link Lance. Bum rap, show your ass when you dance. It's a trance. Charles Dance, Otto Fister coaching France. Bum rap, Bubkus, peace out.
Charles Dance.
Oh, yeah.
In charge of...
Charles Dance in charge. The English version that didn't work out, it was like a swap with The Office.
I'm going to throw up through my nose. Justin Hamilton is with us.
Superman
No
Returns.
action in Superman.
No action.
No,
All the
it was-
action was in the trailer. He gets shot in the eye.
Yep.
He catches
Saves the plane.
Catches the plane.
That
and,
happens like a third of the way in the movie.
and then there's a bit of flying about
Yep.
really quickly.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I was talking to some nerdy friends of mine who read comic books.
I'm sure they're listening. Hello, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure they are as well, rocking back and forth, thinking who's stronger, Superman or Thor? But and my friends, they loved it. They were like saying, "Oh, it's great. It's a feel-good movie." No, I don't want to feel good after I see Superman. I want him to smash shit. That's what I want him to do. He can fly. I want him to punch stuff.
Yeah, that's my problem. Not one punch a bad guy into the sun.
Yeah, I want to see him punch somebody and he gets Parkinson's. That's what I want to see happen.
And then he gets really badly beaten up. Superman.
yeah.
He
By
gets stabbed
Ian
with some
Roberts.
kryptonite and
Yeah.
beaten up. And my wife just leans over to me during that scene and goes, "Oh, another gay bashing scene." But anyway, what else happened on the weekend? Justin, were you in a nightclub that was bombed with capsicum bombs and many people were nearly killed? Were you in that?
I have to be very careful about what I say here, but I may have gotten a bit irritable because I couldn't get to the bar, and I may have let something off.
You weren't
to get
really
a drink.
there. You're just saying that for a joke.
You know, it's a desperation to
Where
be
is
popular.
he? Cavalier was.
You were there.
Not named as one of the celebrities pouring from the nightclub.
I didn't see
Who
you.
got a run? Who got a run?
Adam McPhee, the footballer, Dean Solomon.
I think Tara Moss just showed up and emerged several times.
No, she was going wild. She was going wild.
She popped a boob, walked off again. Yeah.
Well, it's
animator Adam Elliott. He would have been there.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Oscar-winning animator.
What happened, Ed?
Well, it's funny you should say about the pop to boo bit, right? Because the first thing I noticed when everyone ran out coughing and spluttering, my friend ran up to me and went, "Joe, it was horrible in there." And I was coughing and my eyes. And I said, "Dude, are you still holding a drink?"
Adam put it down.
Said, yeah, I paid for it, man. But anyway, I was there with some friends of mine and Mr. X, who we can't name on this show, obviously, because he's on another show. Right. And one of his friends ran up and was like, "Oh, did you guys get out all right?" I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. Are you okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'd never met her before in my life. I'm good. And like a whole boob was hanging out of her shirt.
Right.
And no one mentioned it for like 5 minutes. It was really
well, what are you going to say? You can't just...
I love how you're giggling, though.
It's so funny.
And were you maintaining the eye contact while talking?
I had to, man.
But you had the twitch with one eye that was still kind of looking?
My eyes were going, "Come on, man, down. I'm going, "No, keep it together, man."
It's the capsicum spray that's upsetting you here. Right. That's why I'm weeping at the moment.
But I was because I saw they said to cut the music, and they were like, get out. And I was like, "What's going on?" And I saw people coughing and spluttering, so I held my breath.
Right.
You're all meant to be impressed by that.
Yeah. That was quick thinking.
So we're all still back at the boob. And what was the song that got cut off? Wise Men? Was it Wise Men?
The thing is, Toto, no matter what songs I hear wherever I go, Toto's Africa is always just sort of ringing around in my ears. And they were doing all the coverage afterwards as well, like all the TV coverage. Like they were, the TV cameras were going, "All right, they're injured, but they look more injured. Let's get a shot of them." Right? And I was there with Mr. Josh Lawson, our good friend, and he went, "Right, watch this," and he grabs someone else and walks in front of the TV cameras and then does a really dramatic feint to try and get himself some footage. And they just went, "I don't think so, Lawson. Get out of there."
And then Tara Moss walked through again. I don't know how she's there.
She's amazing.
Believe it or not, listeners, on the buses, the show we often go on about on this program, to the mystification of younger listeners,
myself included,
to the point where people think we must surely be making it up. It doesn't really exist. Was on Channel 7 on Saturday night.
Yeah. I watched it. For you, I watched it because you've talked about it so much. I'll never get that time back, you know.
Sorry about that.
What do we got?
You've got the two ugliest men in the world. Am I right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
They're bus drivers.
Yeah.
And the birds are just springing out of the woodwork for a bit of bus driver action.
It's reality TV gone wrong.
And there's Blakey, of course.
That's the one you go,
he's the sort of evil inspector.
Okay.
And I think I've got a scene here, and this is just where, look, it's basically sexual assault. Is what it is. Have a listen.
You're in no condition to drive a bus.
Here, listen, I'll tell you something. I'll fit for anything now, mate.
Hello, Jack. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Suze. Come here, mister.
What's come over you?
No, don't be silly.
I thought you were the quiet one.
Well, I'll show you whether I'm the quiet one, haven't I?
Put that girl down. What do you think you're doing? Put her down.
Why, she you a bit?
Them mini skirts have gone to your head, haven't they?
That's Blakey.
I don't wear them.
Butler, do you realise that a busman can be suspended for interfering with a clippy like that?
God blimey, if he did that, there wouldn't be a bus left on the road. Oh, cheeky devil.
Pinching her like that's indecent.
That wasn't indecent. It would have been, only a ticket machine got in the way.
You've gone mad, haven't you?
It's genius.
Oh.
I had no idea it was so good.
It's just squealing birds a go-go.
But, Tone, what was the sound? There's a sound effect. The girl walks in, and then the first bit of assault takes place. But there was kind of like a board sound. What happened to her?
Was there? I don't know.
There was.
The only mystery sound you usually get in on the buses is Blakey going. And I went for the whole half hour, and I didn't get a single one. And he didn't say, "I'll get you, Butler," but he nearly said, "I'll get you, Butler." Have a listen.
Hang about. I'll get the company doctor to give you a breathalyzer test.
I'm not frightened of the breathalyzer.
No? No? We'll see about that, mate. I've got you, Butler. I've been waiting years for this. Good.
I'm not sure if that was years or just...
But you know what freaks me out is that you just said that went for half an hour. I would have sworn it went for an hour. No joke there. I kept watching and then I'd see something shiny at the corner of my eye and look at that for a while and then come out, God, it's still on.
Michael Ward is here. Around, please. Comedy writer Michael Ward. Maybe you don't know the name. You've certainly been laughing at some of his gear on the telly over the years. Do you work on the Footy Show?
I am currently working on the Footy Show, and I can just say only good things about it mainly because James Brayshaw has just come off the cage and he's probably listening on the radio as we drive home. But I hanker for the days of my old sort of jobs, Tone, when I was outside and fancy-free, didn't have to be in front of a computer.
Right.
Grave digging was one of my old jobs.
Right. How does that compare to writing on the Footy Show?
Yeah, pretty much the same, really. Digging holes for yourself. Not for yourself, obviously, because you wouldn't bury yourself.
Grave digging?
Yeah, how'd you get that job?
I actually applied. That was in the newspaper, in the Age.
No, I'm glad you just didn't show up with a shovel and start having a go.
But I had no experience. I had no experience, as you would guess. But I rocked up. I had to have an actual interview, and I went to the interview, and I just made up digging terms to show that I sort of knew what I was talking about. So I said I'd done a bit of channeling.
Oh yeah,
as in digging channels,
right?
And stumping, whatever that meant. And the guy just sort of nodded at me like I knew what I was talking about. And lo and behold, I got the gig, and I was there for twice. I was there for 9 months, and I went overseas, came back, and bizarrely got my job back again.
Right? Is it possible to dig a grave badly?
You can dig it too small so that the coffin doesn't fit in, or you can dig it so that if you dig it wrong, the walls cave in.
Right.
So, and then, then you're stuck in there. So it's very precise.
Is it possible to punch your way out of a grave a la Uma Thurman in Kill Bill 2?
I don't know, but look, I got stuck in a grave once, and that was hard enough. I wasn't even buried, but I was stuck up to my knees in mud in my gumboots, and this is racing to get the grave finished before a funeral, and I had to actually leave my gumboots in the grave.
Right.
As the funeral rocked up and climb out and leave the gumboots in
So they're still there.
So they're still there, and there's a coffin on top of the gumboots.
Matt, are you there?
I certainly am. Good morning, guys.
Morning. What's your news headline, my friend?
It's from New Zealand, and the headline is A Date with Destiny. And it was about a man who was caught by a farm with one of the horses whose name was Destiny.
Yes! Yes!
Wow.
What do you mean caught?
Let's just say it was nighttime, and there was rustling in the barn.
Oh, look, can I mention it again? Do you remember the Truth newspaper back in the...
I certainly do.
And my favourite all-time story they ever did was it was a case of it was horse rape case shock for couple, and it was some people who'd walked past a field and seen a man being very good friends with a horse with the aid of a stool. And they had just a picture of a horse, which I'm sure was just out of the filing cabinet, and it had the rape victim under it. Oh, no. And then, I know. And then it said that the guy who was caught on the stool was being housed in a mental institution, and this is the genius part of it, overlooking picturesque Warrnambool racecourse. Oh, bring back those days of great journalism.
Thank you very much, Matt.
My invented language, Montalban.
What's
We're
that?
going to bring that back.
What's that?
It's just an alternative pronunciation
Yeah.
of existing words.
Like?
Well, let's see. Ice cream. Ikekriam. Ikekriam. Or chocolate ice cream. Kuhokolate ikekriam.
I'd learn that language.
It's just alternative pronunciation. You've got to have the vowels in the right place. Ambulance works.
Okay.
Amibiolonke. Amibiolonke. Montalban. That's what I do of an evening.
Yeah, nice work.
What about that? Ian Turpie and his penis. Now, veteran former game show host Ian Turpie lied.
Those are two. That's a bad introduction there. Veteran, then straight into former game show host.
Ian Turpie lied about his erection problems for money as a part of a conspiracy to mislead the public through an impotency clinic's advertising. I think we know about this. We're talking about the nasal Stiffy spray. Turpie, 62, said he had only used the nasal spray as a joke and was paid 18 grand for the ruse. Imagine that. So what do you do for a living? I pretend to have erectile dysfunction. No, I'm telling you, mate, there's pretty good coin and pretending you can't get it up. 18 grand. No, it's a good living. Pretending that it's not working in the downstairs department. Imagine that as a job.
How did he get found out? Did somebody go around and... Oh, actually, no, you can get an erection without that spray, Ian.
Bit of investigative journalism.
Yeah.
Thank God you're here. Is it coming back at all?
Yeah. There's another series coming out, I should be fairly sooner rather than later.
Ed, would you prefer to be one of the people helping out or one of the people trying to improvise at the same time? 'Cause I think you'd be good at both.
Oh, thanks. But I like what I do. I like kind of being in the background, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. I love it.
The ladies still jump into the boat, whether
They
you're up the
don't.
back or in the front there.
Look, it's an ocean. It's a lonely ocean liner. There's no ladies in the boat, as you call it.
A lonely ocean liner.
Yeah.
Wow, you're like the Great Gatsby.
I am like the Great Gatsby.
Out on your own, sad
ocean
liner.
Yeah.
You're the single person of interest aboard an ocean liner. Okay, we don't know anything about Thank God You're Here coming back. Meet the Press. That's on a Sunday on Channel 10. And they interview people, politicians. Paul Bongiorno, have you seen that?
Yep.
Did this great interview with Amanda Vanstone on the
missed
weekend.
it.
Well, see, the problem is, I've been told by the legal department that we can't use Amanda Vanstone's voice
yes, I've
for
heard
this
this.
interview.
Yeah.
But they didn't say anything about Paul Bongiorno. So I'm still allowed to play Paul Bongiorno's questions.
Okay.
I just can't play Amanda Vanstone's.
So what'd you do?
What it is, I transcribed everything she said,
Yep.
and then I got an actor. Sadly, it was the only actor we could find
That's okay.
to do her answers. So this is word for word what she said.
Do it.
But we've just had to get an actor to play.
There we go.
Amanda
Legal
Van-
disclaimer done. Let's hear it.
I feel like the setup is longer than the bit.
We'll soon find out.
And steering the legislation through those rocky shoals is our guest. Welcome back, Amanda Vanstone.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's great to be here. I love this.
Well, just wearing your multicultural affairs hat, are you concerned that the foiled bomb plot could fuel an anti-Muslim backlash in Australia?
Okay, first up, do I look like I'm wearing a hat to you, Paul?
Well,
is that a hat up there? That's my hair. I'm Amanda Vanstone, right? So I want some respect from you when you talk to me on your little show. Multicultural hat. I don't know what that shit means. So, you keep your little hat remarks to yourself, okay?
On Friday, former head of the National Crime Authority, Peter Farris QC, said it was time to call a spade and realise that terrorists will come from within the Muslim community.
Paul, am I calling a spade a spade? When did I say that? I didn't say any of that shit. Okay?
Oh, we just...
I mean, I'm Amanda Vanstone. You think I sit around coming up with little, spade bon mots for you journalists to talk about? I don't know where you get that shit from.
He wants a national ID card with a person's religion on it. Here's something of what he said.
What's the point of searching a little old lady pensioner from Nunawading when there's half a dozen Muslims getting on the plane?
Right, cut that off. Okay, you get on a plane, right? You see some Muslim guy, right? You see some little old lady. You know what I see? I see competition for the buffet. That's what I see, right? You let me at those sandwiches, whatever you got. Any kind of little food that's in a packet, leftovers. I'll take anything, right? Just let me get my snout in the trough. That's what I want.
Okay, well, moving on to...
I'm on a flight, okay? Liquids. Keep your liquids. Give me solids.
Just one point. I understand that Family First may be interested in an amendment that would see...
Listen, I don't have time for this shit. You got some good questions there, Paulie?
Boat people sent not to Nauru, but to Christmas Island.
Christmas Island. Look, listen to me, Paul. I don't even know where the this place is. Christmas Island. What, a seasonal island? What, is it Christmas there all the time? It's like Willy Wonka town. I'm telling you, Christmas Island, Birthday Mountain.
Minister, time for a break.
All right. Now we have a break. We see what a idiot you are, Paul. Think I don't know what you're doing. I come on your little show. You ask your little questions. I see you with Tony Abbott. Oh, yeah, I got all the smart questions. Let me ask you this smart guy. I'm Amanda Vanstone. You think you can take me down? No, you take a shot at me, okay? You just take a shot, because I'm a big lady.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Immigration Minister Amanda Vanstone.
Don't make me sit on you.
Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.